Hello, my name is Jonathan Royal, and I will be doing my presentation on schema theory. So let's get started. The first page is schema theory, a closer look by Jonathan Royal. Okay, schema theory is said to have originated around the year 1932 with Frederick Bartlett. He's credited with coming up with the idea and actually using schema for the first time. Frederick was basically a psychologist, and he was working with subjects on a project that he was utilizing to measure the recollection of Native American folk tales. And there's a couple interesting things that he noted in his studies, and one of them was that many of the recalls were not very accurate. Secondly, there was a replacement of unfamiliar content with that of familiar content, and also many inferences that went way beyond that of the original text. So there were things that being accidentally added that were never there in the first place. So based on his experimentation, he proposed a couple of things. First, that people have schemata, what's called schemata, and that's defined as unconscious mental structures that basically define what the world is to a particular person. So it's like a generic knowledge about the world for a person. And he also suggested that new information is influenced by old information, which is kind of the basis of the schema theory. From there was another evolution 4 years or so down the road with Minsky. Marvin Minsky was a computer scientist who was developing machines that would display human-like abilities. And through his research and experimentation in the 1970s, he developed what is called the frame construct. And his basic premise or idea was he proposed that fixed generic information be processed or represented as a frame that was comprised of so many slots. And each one of these slots could accept a certain range of values. And if there wasn't a value to fill a certain slot provided by the world experiences that are going on, then a default value would be injected into that particular slot. From there, we have another evolution to modern schema theory. This is pretty much what we know today. Of today is schema theory, and some of the psychologists that were responsible for that are David Rumelpart, who elaborate a little more on Minsky's ideas, and basically turn them into a psychological theory of mental representation of complex knowledge. There's also Roger Schenck and Robert Abelson, who developed a script construct to deal with the generic knowledge of sequences of actions. And that brings us to our next page, which is a couple of definitions. The first one is schema. What is schema? Schema is defined as a data construct that represents all the generic concepts that are available to us in our memory. Schemata, on the other hand, is unconscious mental structures that represent an individual's generic knowledge about the world. So those are the definitions of schema and schemata, which pretty much define the whole schema theory. Now, what's the relevance of schema theory in instructional design, you might ask? Well, establishing varying and complementing schemas will improve reception and processing of new knowledge or information. Also, constructing effective instructional pedagogy founded on underlying schematic themes will encourage more effective learning. So basically, utilizing the concepts, the tools, the strategies in schema theory, we can process information better, and we can also construct instructional pedagogy that will promote healthier learning. Alright, there's three major processes of schema. The first is accretion. Accretion basically means that new information is being absorbed from the environment without affecting existing schema. So in essence, there's additional schema being created that work alongside existing schema. With tuning, new information is being absorbed, but at the same time, it's reacting with existing schema and in such a way that it is utilized to revise that existing schema to somewhat of a new schema. And then there's restructuring, which is basically a completely restructuring of the existing schema by reception of new information. So it's like creating a new schema out of an existing one based on information that is being received. Those are the three major processes of schema theory that comprise that. Some of the influences on learning, well, we come to conclusions about information based on how our mind processes incoming data. Also, processing of new information is dictated by the cumulative prior knowledge and experience of the user or the learner. Those are some of the major influences of schema theory and influences. Here's some tools of application in an instructional setting. One of them is an advanced organizer, and these are found in a number of different books, articles, journals. They're seen all over. They comprise of graphs, charts, illustrations, diagrams, and things of that nature. And they're basically aimed at organizing information and at the same time trying to refresh or recall existing knowledge so that new information can be processed more effectively. We also have metacognitive strategies or cognitive strategies such as reading heading and title of a book, looking at visuals in the text, and making predictions based on the title and pictures. These are just little strategies that can be used to refresh memory. The last one is construct strategies aimed at building functional problem-solving schema. And that's pretty much self-explanatory. It's just the idea that you can build functional problem-solving schema by constructing certain instructional strategies. Okay. Here's a couple of other tools. We have providing feedback is another helpful tool that can be used. And this is basically done by providing fully worked out and explained examples that guide schematic or schemata construction. So it could be like a fully worked out problem or something of that nature that can be gone over to help that individual establish different schemata. We also have utilize elaboration, which basically means that you start with the general ideas first, and you elaborate on those ideas slowly but surely to come to more advanced knowledge, understanding of a certain topic. The last one on this page here is teaching mental models to correct, and these are basically made to correct inconsistent or insufficient mental models. A lot of times people come to a class with a certain mind state, a certain way of processing information, a certain mental model, if you will, and there has to be, if there's any inconsistencies or with that mental model or deficiencies, there has to be something to counteract that to improve the mental model so that they can process information better. Here's some more tools. One of those is construct conceptual and pedagogical models. These are aimed at basically correcting insufficient or deficient mental models, and the whole goal is to make a particular target system apprehensible or understandable. Also, limiting the effects of differing cultures helps level learning field by minimizing cultural applications that confuse or discourage learners. So sometimes learners have different cultural backgrounds that influence the way that they learn, and so we, if we're instructors, we have to try to construct instructional strategies, models that take that into account and that minimize the effects of cultural applications. And then lastly, we have very types of established schema. It's good to have multiple perspectives and experiences and establish a different, wide variety of different schemas so that you're more well-rounded and better able to problem solve in different scenarios. So that's very helpful as well. Alright, and then in summary, on the applications section, basically utilizing all these tools and strategies will help the learner to recall existing information, establish new schema, which ultimately will enhance their learning abilities. Then lastly, in summary, understanding the concept of schema can help improve the way we teach and consequently the way we learn by understanding how the mind processes information and constructing instructional pedagogy to capitalize on areas of improvement and effectiveness.